Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Netflix and Fail. I'm Trav Snell.
I'm Emily Brost.
I'm Cosmid.
Dylan Must.
And today we're going to be watching the classic. I don't know if it's
classic. Didn't it come out in the last couple of years?
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I think it's 2015.
I feel like
2016.
I feel like something has to be out for at least
this
10 years
year.
to be a classic.
I think this could be a classic after we watch it.
Okay.
Dylan, you want to tell me the origins of what the movie we're doing today and what movie? Because you're the one that brought it to my attention. I did not know this was on Netflix, and luckily you showed me. It's a 1.5.
Well, I think it's
Netflix.
I think it's a new release, right?
Yeah.
So it popped up on my screen, and it was just a picture of what's his name?
John Travolta.
John Travolta, and it was called "I Am Wrath," and I was like, oh yes, like this is potential. Hovered over less than 2.5. I was like, let's go. This is one. Told Travis about it instantly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, what are your expectations for this movie?
I don't. Well, I think. Do you have the synopsis?
Yes, it is.
Synopsis.
I was going to say synapses.
Synapse are in the
Synapse of the brain.
Those are in the brain. Yeah.
A man is out for justice after a group of a group of corrupt police officers are unable to catch his wife's murder.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh,
It has
no.
a 5.3 on IMDb, 11% on Rotten Tomatoes. But this is a fun fact. It's directed by Chuck Russell, who did one of my favorite movies, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is, if you ask the horror community, it's actually like one of the best ones. Some people consider it the best Nightmare on Elm Street. The Blob, which is a classic. He did The Mask. Jim Carrey's The Mask. He did The Eraser. He did The Scorpion King.
So some real sleeper hits is what you're
Yeah, like, I don't think that's a...
Eraser or Eraser?
Eraser, yeah, whatever. All his other movies were the something, so I just carried it on. But, like, that's a pretty good resume, you know? So I guess I'll jump to me. I love John Travolta. I've been waiting to do John Travolta on this. Since we started this cast, he's one of the main reasons. I love John Travolta. He's, like, your classic, like, Nick Cage, Keanu. Like, he's a guy who can put up a great performance, but then he can also just be, like, batshit crazy. But it's entertaining, so I'm looking forward to it. I don't know if it'll be a 3, but, you know, like, you got John Travolta, you got Chuck Russell.
You know, I'm hopeful. I think this will be a fun movie, right?
I think so. I hope it's at least a good, bad
I
fun.
have zero expectations for this.
Yeah.
What?
I'll just jump with Emily on this
Yeah,
one.
I think this is just going to be a...
That synopsis didn't get you?
I think this is just going to be a train wreck.
Oh, wow.
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
think so as well, too. Just listening to that synopsis. I had no idea about this movie before.
Me neither.
Like, okay, I'm Wrath. I don't even know about that title.
I
Just
love
that title.
The title is what's like,
Tyler
oh,
kind of sells it a
no.
little bit.
Yeah, that's what it is for me. I am rap. Like,
I want
Does that-
it to be 3, but
I just hope they... Because
No.
the problem with Pay the Ghost, which was last month, is that they didn't... I feel like they didn't really let Nick Cage go off on his tangents, if you will. But I think if they let, Travolta just go ham, I think it'll be a great film.
that's
I
the
don't know
key
if
to
anybody has
success.
control over Travolta, so I think you're in for that.
I was thinking the same for Nick Cage, but it seems like it's possible.
Yeah, they reel them in with like a sub holding it over them, like a sub sandwich.
Yep, sub sandwich. He
okay.
loves sub sandwich.
Before we go and watch this movie, I Am Raph, do you think there's any biblical stuff in this movie?
Ooh,
It's
probably.
like, I am wrath, so that was the only thing
I didn't think about that, but good call.
Okay, I guess.
What?
I don't know.
I am a
That's
god.
one of the seven
Really think of
plays.
that.
Over
I'm a
and over.
god.
I didn't
yeah.
think of that at all. Is it one of the 7 deadly sins?
Oh.
Okay.
What, wrath? Yeah, wrath. I don't know.
no idea.
I
It
don't-
is.
I've never picked up the Bible in my life, so.
I haven't either. I just play a lot of video games, and that's like a good theme for characters is the 7 deadly sins.
Bible, the video game. Bible. Well, we're gonna go watch this.
Let's do this.
Wish
Let's
us
see
luck,
how
as always.
Just luck.
We'll be back in a few seconds.
Doodly-doodly.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen, from I Am Wrath.
Uh-huh.
Who are you?
I am Wrath. I'm starting. This movie was fucking incredible. I loved it from start to finish. So good. I have so many notes, so much to talk about, but I loved this movie. So much fun, and yeah, that's what I thought.
I actually enjoyed it too. I think it was a good time for sure. I think one thing that I had going for it too is that it wasn't too long. Because I feel like most of the movies done on here, it's like, we could cut a half an hour, you know.
This felt the just right.
Yeah, like there's only a couple points where I was like bored a little bit, but it didn't last long.
It lasted for like a minute, and then it was back on that
Back on
train
the action,
again.
yeah.
It was good. It was a fun movie to watch. I think.
Entertaining.
Yeah, very entertaining.
Do you feel the same way?
That's what I said.
Okay.
I said entertaining.
No, she
Just
was
the
just mocking Kyle.
Yeah.
Entertaining.
I said it first.
Fair enough. So we gave the synopsis, and that's pretty much what the movie is.
Yeah.
There's I'm trying to tell people that maybe did not choose to watch along, but I think this is if any movie you haven't watched from this is one you should definitely check out to see the.
I think it's worth it. Yeah.
It's especially with get some friends and whatnot too.
Definitely get some friends.
Definitely get some friends
Yes.
and watch it.
But
It's a general tip for life. You get some friends.
yeah. So I think his wife's killed, and then from there just lots of shenanigans go. We get this.
Yeah.
We get, of course, the classic. It's pretty much if you've seen John Wick, it's that. He has a Black Ops background, so he's pulled back in this life. He has a friend that also has some sort of Black Ops background, and then they just kind of go from there, taking out people that killed his wife, and then there was this big cover-up that his wife was trying to expose the governor, who was dirty. Everybody in this movie's dirty.
And they all end up dead, pretty much.
And that's
Quick
pretty
spoiler,
much
yeah.
it. And then,
Spoiler alert.
and then that's where we go from there. So, is there anything jumping out? Is there anything we wanted to start with? I think there is a lot to cover in this, little things, but
There's so much that went on in this movie. I don't know where to start.
Yeah, me neither, actually.
I have the very first thing I have just to start off. The first 5 minutes of credits is just newscasters.
Yeah.
I even forgot about that. That's
Yeah.
how much went on in this movie that I forgot about that.
Yeah, and that was actually pretty bad. That was kind of
Really
oh
bad.
no, we're not starting out strong here.
No, and the actual quality of the news, it looked really green screeny and cheap and
Yeah.
everything like that. And yeah, and just the actors were really bad. I'm sorry, but were really bad and cheesy.
I felt like I was watching Cops.
Yeah.
The first 5 minutes.
And the first 5 minutes is just them showing other crimes. I didn't really understand it. I understand that there was kind of this gang going around, but I didn't understand why.
I feel like you didn't need to have that actually.
It's
in the
not
movie.
at all. Now
no.
that we've seen the movie, when we first saw those, whatever you want to call them, news clips, Dylan, you were like, "What is the point of this?" And I was like, "Oh, I think they're trying to show that the cops are shooting a lot of people." Not at all. They literally had zero relevance to this film at all.
They just need
There
something.
was
for the
nothing.
credits.
I think they're just trying to show that there's a lot of crime going on, but it just seemed weird. Yeah.
Maybe they were showing the crimes going on, and then the governor came out and said the crime rate's down, but that had zero significance to this as well.
Well, yeah, because he didn't make it sound if he had a deal, because the governor has a deal with these criminals and whatnot, but he didn't make it sound if we work together, that you'll stop doing this or stop doing this, So it's not like he made this thing this is why I'm working with the gangs, because they said they'd stop doing murders and whatnot, but it's they show a bunch of it, and then the crime's down, and they don't really go into not really the governor and the gangs connection. They do a little bit, but not enough to be this makes complete sense, didn't really go anywhere other than he's bad.
Well, even too, the governor was in the start of it. Now I feel like he wasn't really in it for the next 40 minutes or something. I could be wrong, but
He had that scene in the beginning,
even though then he was kind of the end of the movie. I don't know. It was kind of weird. But
he was the big bad pretty much at the end.
I found though that I didn't really care. Not in a bad way, but just it doesn't really matter because I'm entertained from other stuff that's going on. I don't really care about the governor necessarily.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
I'd like to jump into what was his job at the beginning. When
Right.
we were kind of him and hawing because he said, "Oh, I had an interview. Oh, how was the interview?" It was
I got to see the headquarters.
You had no idea.
I think I'm gonna get it.
Yeah, they made a big deal. They never specify, and obviously we found out his job later is Black Ops, but they never specify what his job was there.
Yeah.
In my creative world, I've made it that he was because she makes this comment about, we can go to Disneyland all the time, whatnot. So in my mind, I'm just assuming that Disneyland wanted to up their security, so they wanted to get former Black Ops war people to guard Small World and hot dog stands. That's what I'm hoping.
I wasn't really thinking. I was thinking more just he works at Home Depot kind of thing, pretty something chill. That's what
I
I
gotta
was
see
thinking.
Home Depot's headquarters. It was
I think I'm
awesome.
gonna get it. But yeah, they never really got into that, and we never got to find out anything more about that. So,
which is, I guess, fine.
because his wife is killed. There's not much setup. You get the scene, what we talked about. There's the news. We get the governor speaking, and then we get a shot of John Travolta's family kind of joking about this speech. And then she picks him up, and then she's killed right away. Knife to the throat.
Yeah, it was very quick. That was probably in the first 7 or 8 minutes of the movie. I want to say.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
And they set up for obviously you find out later it's they're supposed to kill her, but they wanted $3. At one point, John Travolta says that you killed her for nothing. I disagree because they specifically said, "Hey, do you have $3?"
Yeah, but that's not
That was a
why.
ploy.
It was all set up. Like their tire
no,
was
but
slashed,
at the beginning when he didn't know that,
oh yeah.
he's like, they killed her for nothing.
Yeah.
Still $3. That's something. Like they made.
Yeah, but he had an idea.
Travis, what are you talking
You're
about?
st-
I feel.
Stop it.
That's a pretty good joke. Nothing. Well, it was $3. Whatever.
That's at least a bus ride and a half, okay? Like, I just laughed at that, you know, as the cop. I was less shitty than the cops were interrogating him. And that's the thing, in this movie, even though we said it's good, nobody has tact or subtlety. The cops, you can tell right away, are bad.
But
they don't even hide it. This is a point we'll get throughout later on. He is, for a Black Ops guy or whatever, he has some of the worst interrogation skills of all time. He's looking for two people at one point, looking for Lars and Charlie. What his plan is, instead of guess and like ask around, he'll just phone someone and literally one of the bad guys is like, "Hey, is Lars around?" Nope. Is Charlie around? Nope.
Charlie's so
What? And why are you asking? Click. That's a legit scene in this movie. And he's just always walking in the place. Hey, do you know Lars? Have you seen Lars?
Yeah, and then because I think the guy he was talking to on the phone was the guy that he goes to the tattoo parlor. So he's asking the guy like the same questions, but just like probably like hours apart, like not even a full day or anything.
No.
Okay, well
super obvious.
let me touch on that.
Yeah.
In this movie, there are so many like strange time jumps that do not work, and I don't mean like a typical time jump where it's like it's one day and then the next. No, I mean like in the same scene, there's suddenly a time jump that's clearly like 10 to 15 minutes apart, but they don't even emphasize that. Like, for example, when he's getting a shave. He's getting a hot shave done, and the guy, like, lathers him up. He probably does 2 strokes, and literally in the next scene that you see
It's
Travolta's
like,
face,
oh,
it's
God.
completely shaved, and he gives him the hot towel.
And no
But
subtlety
that's
too.
not the only time it happens in the
And
film.
no-
It
and it's
happens
like
like 3 other
little
spots.
like stubble.
Yeah.
Shave
Oh yeah, too. Like he
a
didn't get
beard.
that big of a shave. Like they tried to make him seem like all sad and whatnot.
He first of all didn't need one.
And literally the very next day in the film, what we're led to believe, he has the exact same amount of stubble back.
Yeah.
And like I get like, yeah, hair grows fast, but like that's real fast.
He's stressed. The one thing I wanted to mention
Stressed.
that we forgot too well with the interrogation things, his way of trying to play it off like he was just asking about somebody. Anytime he'd ask for Charlie, and this is legit, he'd say, you know, like she was friends with a Charlie something or something. And he didn't do that once. He did that like multiple times, like 4 or 5
But yeah,
times.
Charlie something or something is a direct quote from the movie. That
Yeah.
was probably the best quote.
There's a lot of like strange lines in this movie too, though. It's
Yeah.
and like a lot of like what you would expect from a
Mm-hmm.
typical cheesy action movie,
Mhm.
but like we
Even
can do
more
this
so,
the easy
yeah.
way or the hard way. Your choice. I choose the hard way. Like who puts that in a movie anymore? Like
There was a lot of
It's
cookie
so
cutter. Like
cliche, yeah.
the music too was just like
so
the most
random.
cookie cutter. Like
But-
this is sad music because you're supposed to feel sad. This is building up some intensity.
And it's funny because they act like I guess they have to, but in the opening credits they put like music by, and it's like you probably shouldn't have done that. Maybe save that for the end credits because the music had no significance to this film whatsoever.
No,
It feels
it's-
like they just kind of got somebody straight out of school, like probably still in
They
school.
could
It's like a school
Yeah.
project, and like you do the music for this. Okay, I'm gonna pick the most generic beats you can imagine for the club scene. Like it was literally like
Well,
boom, boom,
I don't fault them for
like,
that because,
horrible.
like, you know, if they're doing lower budget, I get it. I think it was more the placing of it, and the one scene in particular is there's
Yeah,
one scene
I
where
think-
he's looking through files, like, really intensely, and it's loud, blaring music
Yeah,
of,
yeah.
like, score, like he's putting it all together, what happened to his wife. It's like, and it stops and it cuts to a scene of his daughter, and it's literally, there's no, like, fade of the music into the scene, it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
Jimmy, and
yeah,
it's,
that
like,
one was
really awkward.
that one was really like
I thought
really
something
caught
was-
you off guard.
yeah.
Jump out. Well, actually, and then the door just gets randomly open.
Yeah, and that's it. Like
the
it's,
other music thing too. I think it was like in the scene when he was giving him a shave or something. There was just like the music was just really strangely.
and some of the music
It was like
too
trying to build
loud
intensity,
too.
but there was like no climax
The
in that
music
scene. They were
was-
just talking.
The
So.
drug dealer Lemmy K was in his little
Lemmy
massage
K,
parlor, and the
Lemmy
music
K.
literally sounded like farts. Like it did. It was.
Yeah.
I was like, "What is happening? Like, why is this the music that they chose?" It
Yeah.
was horrible.
Like honestly, like with Lemmy K and Charlie something, I said this before, but this felt like if we got a for me, a bad Grand Theft Auto movie. To me, like, it had these weird characters. That's why it had those cheesy action lines, but all the people that delivered them were so out there and crazy. Like, you have John Travolta. Chris Maloney, we did not know was in this movie, is in this movie. He kills it in this movie.
Best part of this movie.
I'll disagree. I think he's still second to Travolta because Travolta's just in a different zone.
I thought he was good.
I think he's the best part.
The girl that plays Travolta's daughter is on the same level as them.
What's his name? Chris
Maloney.
I've only seen him in Wet Hot American Summer, and in that movie, he's a very similar character, so I was just picturing him as that character, and then it just made the movie.
I forgot that he's in there.
Yeah, he's a crazy guy.
Because he's like an undercover, like, FBI guy, too. And he's super cheesy, so it works.
Yeah, he's a cook. He's talking about a can and everything.
Yeah.
So I just kept because he even had the same facial hair, I think, too, so.
Yeah.
It was great.
No, the cast killed it in a different sort of way, not in like a great actor way, and more like an entertainment sort of way, but I thought everyone did good.
This is just a good bad movie.
Oh yeah, the guy that plays Charlie.
I'm glad we finally found a good bad movie.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, so this is I'll bring up because Emily was like, ew. There's a funeral scene, and it's an open casket, and he lovingly kisses his wife goodbye, and you're like, ew, a dead body. And I thought that's pretty normal. Lots of people do that.
First of all, like, I would not kiss a dead body because they're dead. And second of all, he lingered very long with that kiss of the dead body. Also, it was full.
It's the last kiss.
Yeah.
It was full on the mouth kiss.
Wait, was it?
Yes.
I don't think so.
No, Emily, I think you're wrong. I think it was on the cheek.
Go back and watch this because if it was just like a forehead peck or just a cheek kiss, I would have accepted this. But because it was a full on the mouth long lingering kiss, that's why I was like, ew. Like, no, you don't kiss a dead body on the mouth.
First of all, you have to imagine she's probably just smothered in like formaldehyde or some other weird thing.
Exactly.
Probably pretty nasty. But I mean, you know what? You gotta say goodbye to your wife, okay? And I don't think it's unacceptable.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen.
We're
just watching this right now to see. I think Emily might be
am
right.
100%
Okay,
right.
here we go.
Oh.
Emily's right.
That's not that long.
That was too long for on the mouth.
Yeah, my laptop lagged a little bit. I don't think it was
My laptop was lagging.
Yeah, it skipped.
But still, it was on the
skipped
lips,
to
and
catch
you're
up.
right.
It was
Because
too
I feel like a kiss on the cheek. You know,
Yes.
a little
That's
nice,
what I'm
but
saying.
you gotta
You
do what
guys
you
all
gotta
gave me
do.
so much shit when I said, "Ew, he's kissing his dead."
I don't think it's that bad.
I'm sorry, but like if it was on the
I would've done it
forehead,
longer.
cheek, but on the mouth is not acceptable to me. That's just me.
This movie.
That's fine. That's fine.
So we got the answer of why this is called I Am Wrath
Yes.
multiple
Real
times.
Real quick.
Yeah, so it's very much hit over the head that he's at the funeral and he's not a religious guy. He hasn't prayed for years, and he literally doesn't stay.
Church for his wife.
He doesn't. Yeah, he only went to church for his wife. He's not staying for his wife's funeral. He says goodbye and he leaves. And he's like, "Where are you going?" He's like, "No, I'm like I don't
do church.
He said, "I only go to church for my wife." And it's
she's
like
gone.
at that point, I was thinking like your wife's still kind of there, but like and she's gone. And then
Yeah, his wife's still there, which is somebody points out to him, and he goes, "No, she's gone. She's been dead for 3 days. Also dead for 3 days. Kissing her on the mouth. Ew."
He does just carelessly just be like, "No, he's gone. She's gone."
Yeah,
But-
he's like literally not grieving over this at all.
So what happens is the priest, he is grieving. I'll give him that. The priest hands him a Bible. So later on, he's mad at some point, and he throws it, and it lands on the page of a quote about being "I am wrath."
Yeah.
So we got the answer right away. And the weird thing is, he picks it up, and it's the page, but the page is where it's the quote of "I am wrath." It's highlighted for us, not like with pen, like in like After Effects.
Yeah.
It's like highlighted for us to get like this is why it's
all the
wrath.
words around are darkened, and then just the "I am wrath"
And
is just
literally,
glowing.
the last time I saw that done in a movie was in Twilight, when she was like researching about vampires, and it's like the screen like pops up, it's all like bright around the words. It's like, oh yeah, like that's
where I'm
Twilight
supposed to
style.
read. Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens, and then the other thing I have about that scene is his family does not stay with him the night of the funeral. Like, for me, it was like a red flag, because it's like he's drinking everything like this, and they're just like, they don't even check up on him. They phone a little days later, but no wonder why he's drinking. Like, his family's not even spending the night with him on his...
He didn't even stay for the funeral.
But whatever, he's the one that's grieving
There's
the
definitely
most.
some weird family dynamics.
Oh,
First of all, like,
yeah.
he clearly... It
Well,
sounds
think
like...
about that line at the end, too.
I'm
You
wondering-
truly are my daughter.
True.
There's
Well,
something weird.
Here's, at the start of the movie, he's, like... I don't know if we said this specifically, but they meet in the airport, right? So... And I don't know, there's a comment he made, so it sounds like he's maybe often out of town or something.
Trying to find a job.
So, like, I'm wondering, like,
Headquarters.
really how close he is with his family, or if he was just out on this interview. I don't know. It's
But
kind
we
of
got so many
Really close
flashbacks
with
in
his wife.
PJs. We have so many flashbacks in PJs to show that
Maybe
they're
his daughter's
close.
a little
Yeah.
resentful.
You never got that from her though. So then from there, yeah. So we found out about Wrath. There's a big moment we're gonna save until we get there.
That's
But
gonna be a good one.
it's definitely hit upon many times. He legitimately had
Not as much as I was thinking, though.
no, but
It was maybe 3 or 4 occasions.
So then
No.
the thing that happens next is we talked about a bit. He goes to this barber shop and he meets his friend who's played by Chris Maloney,
Yeah.
and that's where you get Actually, sorry. Before that was the drywall scene. That's why
Okay.
before.
Oh, he's
so
just driving around. And
yeah.
goes-
So well, and I guess
Interrogation.
I forgot the interrogation part too
So,
because
what are
I
you gonna
forgot to
talk
put that in my notes. What happens is they find the guy, and to stress that they're dirty, he points out that guy kills my wife, and they're like, "Oh yeah,
And the
okay."
police
Cops.
And
line
they,
up,
the cops, and they just let him go. So obviously he's dirty, and then
Obviously the cops are
Oh, and there's also, like, when the bad guy's walking by,
Oh,
Kyle
wow.
calls us out, he's like, he's gonna wink, gives him a big old wink.
Yes.
It's
Slow motion.
The slow motion in this movie is
this movie
amazing.
has as much slow
And
motion
And
as Batman v
I honestly,
Superman.
the guy
honestly.
couldn't, like, I don't think he winked correctly. Like, I think he accidentally closed his other eye, too. I don't think he's an expert
He's
winker.
just like,
I'm guessing, my guess, because it was like, I think it was like the left side of his face, maybe he can only wink with the right side, but like they were filming from that angle, so he just like kind of messed up. I don't know.
But yeah, so the big wing happens, and then he goes home, and like I said, it's for people that have seen John Wick. He literally just breaks open the drywall of his closet. There's a suitcase there with guns and knives and passport
you
and
forgot.
rolls of
He
money.
went and he looked at the back of his closet, but didn't break it open. Then
Oh,
he went
thought-
driving
and he had
around.
flashbacks while
He
he's
went
looking at
driving
it.
around the slums of
Yes,
where are they,
yeah.
Ohio,
Mhm.
and he just happened to see the guy from the lineup
Yeah.
just hanging on the streets. He just
Charlie
happened to
something
find
or
him
something.
on the side of the road.
Even
he
though
saw
later
him,
in the movie
sped
he
up.
can't find him at all.
No, he saw him,
At all.
sped up, went back home, and then smashed the drywall
Yeah.
that he's already looked at.
But then
So
Charlie
now-
something
And
or
then the next
something
thing-
could never be
but, like,
found
for the
again.
rest, like the next like 40 minutes, he's trying to find Charlie again. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, why didn't you just get
Just
this
drive, just
done
drive.
the first time and then go find Charlie?
Well, I think when he saw him, that's when it clicked, and he's like, "I think I need to kill him." So I'll give him
Oh,
that.
okay.
But he should have just kept driving around. Then he would have found him eventually,
Right.
apparently.
True.
And then yeah, that's when we get introduced to Chris Maloney, and he's another CSI Black Ops guy. We went over that, but
CSI.
yes, I'm
Analyzing
thinking that because Law and
samples.
Order. The reason I'm getting to the scene is because he brings them downstairs and shows them like he has like a weapons room and he has all
Yeah.
these different guns
Yeah.
and he's like,
He still
oh.
does a little bit of freelance work.
Yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, oh, you have this weapon,
Still
but
do a
you
little
need to use
customization.
this, and you need to use this, and like all the weapons, like there was a lot of weapons, but they look budget wise like as cheap as you could
Oh,
possibly
yeah.
get. Like it's not like James Bond when they open up a door and you're like, oh, these cool gadgets and guns. It was like these are like
Hey
the
man, the
guns.
sniper was pretty nice.
And I
True.
think one of the best parts is too, he says he does customized weapons, and none of those looked custom whatsoever. Like
Whatsoever.
all those guns were
Except for
just
the
your,
silencer.
all,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a
all those
$6
guns were like
shootout.
you're just your average.
Well, yeah, and John Travolta acted like he was super surprised by all these guns. Like, wow, this is cool. But it's like he was in Black Ops. I hope he's seen more than that. Like, what did they give him? Just like a yo-yo to kill people? Like, he was like, oh, I got- like he
Well,
he
he
was showing
already-
a bunch of different knives, and he's like, ooh, like,
Those are
well, at this
nice.
point-
and he had his weapons his own.
Yeah,
Too.
we already saw like him open his briefcase with all of his guns.
He had like at least 3 different guns, and he had like 2 different sets of
and he
knives.
had passports for many countries.
And money for different countries, so it's like he's also has stuff, but he acted like this was the first time he had seen some of the stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
Maybe
maybe
it's just
they were all
impressive by his
custom, and we
collection.
just
You know, it's
didn't
been a
see
while.
It's been a while since he's been
Getting
in
back
He
in the
didn't
game.
have his own shooting range, so
no, this is nice. This is it
No,
says
his
that. This is
shooting range
nice.
is just he just goes out on the street and shoots random people.
Yeah. So then we get the first. He's going after because 3 people killed his wife, so he's going kind of hitless, going after them one by one.
Yeah.
So he goes after the
Yes.
first one,
Yeah.
which Emily did bring up. We never know. Some girl says to him, "There's some gringos looking for you."
yeah.
It's never clarified, and I just think it's just because maybe he is just that bad that he's been calling people, asking for different
But this
people.
before.
It's
I
even
know, but
before
I
we
think
see
he did this
any single
before,
week
'cause we don't know
before we
how.
see any
Well, she
of
kind
that,
of looked
though.
like a detective of some sort.
But I don't think she was a
Did she?
detective.
I
She
don't
was.
know.
She
I
definitely
got that
accepted
vibe.
the stolen
She looked
purse.
nice. Yeah, and she was, and she saw him kind of semi do a drug deal.
Well, yeah,
you know.
but they're all dirty cops. Though.
No, that's what
True,
she did. She
true.
saw him do the drug deal, and she's like, "You better be careful. I heard some gringos looking for you."
Mhm.
And it's just like,
And she
first of
accused
all,
him
like,
having no money.
all he's done so far is that this is even before he went into the guy's basement for the shooting range. Like
Yeah.
he just went to this bar,
Yeah.
was stalking this guy and having his drink.
Yeah,
This
there-
was after the shaving scene, because remember Maloney saves his ass.
Yeah, that's right.
Almost every time this movie, John
every
Travolta,
time.
he's the biggest like plot device. Like anytime Travolta's in trouble, sniper, or he comes through a door.
Yeah.
He's great,
That's
so
why
it's
he's
fine.
the best part of the movie.
And
Like,
the best part
always
of
saving
that
the
particular scene is Travolta's sitting at the bar. He has
Oh,
a glass,
yeah.
and he's just drinking. And then the guy Nathan,
so
the bad
good.
guy that
I
he's
think
trying to
that was
find.
my favorite scene.
Yeah,
This movie's so
He
good.
grabs a pool cue. He grabs a pool.
The
cue
white
ball.
ball, the
Yeah,
cue
the white
ball.
ball, the cue ball. Lays it down on the bar, and just takes a nice shot and destroys his glass.
And then Travolta just immediately pulls out his gun and is
Yeah.
just like, fuck it. And
No,
then he slams the door
what
shut.
happens first is his glass explodes from getting hit with the cue ball, and he's like, and then he goes, and like does like the biggest death glare at the guy, and the guy's literally his face goes, oh shit. And
Because
then
he
he
kind of
runs.
realizes this is a guy that he
Yeah,
killed his wife.
Totally, but it was
Like,
just
you have-
so
if you haven't- if you
funny,
didn't
the
watch the
looks
movie,
they gave each
First of all,
other.
you should, and like you have to watch that scene. That
Yeah,
scene is
I
so
think you
good.
know-
Best scene of the movie.
I think it's worth watching.
I think
It,
so.
no, not. We'll get to my best scene. There's one scene that stands out that is one of my favorite scenes of 2016. But there's so many good scenes in this. But yeah, and then at one point he runs out of the bar. Travolta closes the door. He shoots the door, but of course it's like perfectly like just around. It's like a Bugs Bunny cartoon. It's like perfectly around Travolta.
Yeah.
Travolta gets him in the back. There's that homeless guy that's not homeless. It's
It's a
He goes
crackhead,
out behind
yeah.
the bar and like
Crackhead.
I don't know.
yeah, like we're breaking this down because like this one I think's harder to break because there's so many like specific scenes.
Yeah.
If you hadn't seen this, why? But anyways, he courts the guy. He gets him down. They have this back and forth and whatnot. This is the very first time where we get the ass reference that happens multiple times in this movie. He asks, "Where is Charlie?" and the guy promptly responds, "Up your ass." The words "up your ass" happens about 4 times, and just ass in general, like get over your ass. Like he says another thing, like it's like at one point Maloney describes the body armor like silk on ass. Like the word ass is stressed upon
Yeah, they use it,
so
like,
much
probably
They
in
had
this
to
movie.
get
7 or 8
that R
times.
rating.
Oh, but why not say fucker? They don't even say fuck once.
No.
But they say ass so many times.
Yeah,
like
they do.
somebody
Yeah.
had like some sort of obsession with ass this
Maybe
movie,
they were
but
like trying to keep it under R, but then like
something
the
happened.
ratings were like, there's
You
a
know.
lot of deaths in this movie.
Right.
You
Yeah.
guys, yeah.
And the strippers
And
and
they're not gonna cut those.
They're
scenes
not
out.
strippers. I think that they're massage.
they were had a pole and they were dancing on it.
But
Exotic dancers.
But they were never
Thank
new.
you.
They were they were
Exotic
never
dancers.
new.
Well,
Say
here's the
that.
thing. Just to jump forward a little bit, there's that scene like after the exploding car, where all those and you were like, oh, I really wanted to see that scene because there's a bunch of dead guys. Maybe they cut that out to try to get the rating down or
Yeah,
something.
true. Because at one point we'll get to it, but yeah, there's like 20 security guards, and when we cut back, they're all dead, and Travolta. And at one point we're like, this is the thing too, Travolta's character, it's established many people are dirty in this movie, but with the security guards we don't know. But Travolta's character does not just simply incapacitate people, like he kills people. Like he's the Punisher.
He's
He's
killed
John
a lot of
Barenthal's the Punisher in this movie.
Yeah.
So when they show the security guards, I'm like, oh, he probably just knocked him out. And then we get a cut to him walking up to them and he just headshots a guy. Like he's brutal in this
Yeah.
movie. Like he gives no
Breaking
fuck.
necks.
Well, even
Yeah.
Cash and checks.
Easily
to
too.
hop back to the scene we were just talking about, like after he shoots that guy,
Him and Maloney, remember? They just both.
yeah, they both
Yeah.
cap him, and then
Yeah.
they throw him in a dumpster, and then
They light
throw
the
a
dump.
bomb in the dumpster.
No,
It's
no,
not-
no, no, no.
It was literally a canister of gasoline.
No, it was alcohol. He was. Well, I
No,
mean,
what?
it was from a flask though,
That
because he
wasn't.
did
That
this.
was
No, it
a
wasn't a
canister of gasoline.
it was-
It was like a big.
It was some
Oh,
sort of
I
like
thought
lighter
it-
fluid.
Yeah, it
that
was
they-
some
Oh,
sort
I
of-
just
yeah,
saw a
like-
flask. So.
No.
No.
It was like, and then he poured it in, threw the thing in, and then he lit a cigarette.
Because Travolta states early in the
Yeah.
movie, I haven't had one of those in years. And right when I saw that, I'm like, he's gonna smoke in this movie, and he does one time, just
Twice.
for once.
No,
Or
twice.
when does he?
In the
Barbershop.
barbershop the first time.
Oh,
Where did you
right.
get that smoke? It's like no one's allowed to smoke in here. It's like, oh, these are your smokes. Why are you stealing my smokes?
Yeah.
But then, yeah, classic. He like takes a cigarette, throws it in the dumpster. But I like that they didn't do the classic slow motion badass walk away. It blew up, and they were like surprised. It's
Yeah.
almost like they're like, hey, no one's gonna believe this explosion should be that big, so you guys should act surprised too. Like I don't know if they did, but this movie felt like they knew what type of movie they were making,
Yeah.
and they rolled with it. It's some of those bad movies, you know, like they're trying to be good.
I think they probably had a lot of fun making this movie, right?
I think so too. Like
Yeah.
it felt like that. But
Especially Maloney, just like
Yeah.
getting in there.
Like that's like just like when we watched the do over, like you could just see how bored Adam Sandler and David
Oh,
Spade
yeah.
are. But these guys had they had fun filming
Yeah.
this for sure.
But yeah, so that was the first guy taken out, and we get introduced to the big drug dealer. What was his name?
Lemmy K.
Oh right, Lemmy
Lemmy
K.
K.
There's a scene where he chops off a guy's finger because he let one of his guys die, which made no sense. Like, this guy saw
It
John
didn't make any
Travolta
sense
kill
at
a
all.
guy, and he's like, why'd you let that happen? But it was just, like, to establish he's a macho man, pretty much.
Yeah.
And that's where we get introduced. He kind of owns... At first, we thought it was a whorehouse, but then the next time we go to it, everyone's just getting massages. So it's pretty much just, like, an exotic dancer, lingerie massage parlor. Like, no one's having sex there. And what did you also point out, too, that there's a lot of in this place?
There's a lot of weird, like, mandala blankets
Yeah.
or, like, cloth, like, hanging on the walls.
Lemmy K had a
It's
huge
almost
thing for
like
it.
they didn't have, like, a different set. So, like, let's just hang a bunch of these drapes on the walls and we'll make it look like a different
It
place.
felt like a scene from Batman and Robin. Like, it was so colorful but dark at the same time. Like,
Well, they really emphasized that, didn't they? This is a dirty place.
so and at this point, the bad guys are getting, like, an idea that, oh, something's up because some of their boys are going to take it out. They have a video of Travolta and Maloney.
Just a photo.
Yeah. Oh, right, a photo.
just a
And
photo.
I felt like when they show the photo, you can clearly see it's Travolta, but then Charlie doesn't know it's him, and he's like, I need a name. I'm saying this because I have my notes. He's like, I need a name. We, earlier in the movie, had the Hill family suffers a tragedy. Like, because she's a secretary. That's what we did point out, too. She works for the governor in some way, yeah. So they make a
Which
big
we
deal.
don't find out until, like,
The very end.
I feel like.
No. We
I
found out
didn't.
in the
I don't
first
think it was
scene.
explained.
as a
It
teaser
wasn't
did
explained
not.
at all.
But it was because when they were when the very beginning, when we don't even
How
see
things
Travolta
go with your
yet.
boss, Pat. Oh.
No, before we even get there, the family's all watching the news. The governor's making his big announcement about his pipeline or whatever, and they
Oh,
mention
fair
something about somebody questions him about reports, and they're like, blah, 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 and the daughter goes, hey, Mom, you're famous. And she's like, oh, I'm not famous, I'm just do the math because famous people can't. Isn't that her line or something?
And it makes no sense. Like,
Yeah.
kids with a governor
So-
a famous person.
I guess I missed the
Fair
first
enough,
part
fair
of that what that daughter said. I
No,
just heard.
no, the daughter said, hey, Mom, you're famous because, like, she got mentioned about her report about how it wasn't, whatever,
Oh,
didn't
Fair
make
enough,
the
fair
governor
enough.
look good.
that would have made
Well
a
played.
lot
And
more
then
sense.
she said something about, like, I'm just the secretary. She said that.
Okay. But
I thought that she was
No one is
some
just a
sort of
secretary.
secretary or some sort of accountant doing numbers for someone. She's like, oh, I do the numbers because smart people or famous people
Yeah.
can't do math.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I didn't hear the first part of what the daughter said. So
But yeah, he's constantly asking who he is, and that leads to a scene where they know who Maloney is, but they don't know who he is, even though his name's on the news. But it leads to the scene in the barber shop. There's a alarm. Maloney owns the barber shop, if we didn't clarify, and there's 3 guys in there pointing guns at him, which leads to a pretty good fight
Oh,
scene.
this was badass.
I think the fight scene there was good. Maloney, of course, works his way out of it. He, like, there's this one awkward part, though, where he twists this guy's arm
Yeah.
with a knife, and it looks like they were going to make him stab in the back of the neck, but they didn't have the budget.
The-
So at one point...
The
he, like,
guy's
throws-
reaction was that he got stabbed in the
Yeah,
back.
he's like, oh,
But-
but then he's literally just holding the knife by him, and they turn it, but then after, he pulls it away and, like, stabs him differently. Like, it was...
Oh, because I was
fun,
going to say,
but-
I missed the stab because I was like, but then he had the stab wound, he was bleeding.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah,
was
it's
I
like
didn't
they
know how it happened.
wanted to do that, but it
They
You
didn't.
couldn't
realize.
Yeah, and the guy with the bat just
realize it's
blatantly
not
misses.
physically.
Mm.
Oh yeah, that was good.
That's
He
why
just,
you don't
like,
take
swings a
vertical
bat,
swings. You take
and it's
horizontal
like-
swings.
And the thing is, he's, like, a total badass. He takes on these 3 guys alone, and it ends with he kills one guy, kills another guy, which this guy led to, he hit him with, like, a Lucille bat wrapped in barbed wire. Very
Barbie.
minor. And he hits it. Maloney breaks it with his leg. He kicks the baseball bat and breaks it. And then as Charlie something runs away, he's like, oh, and he's hopping around and he's hurt. He doesn't even make an effort to get him. Like, I know his leg's hurt, but he didn't even, like, I make a joke like he had cramps, because, like, he didn't even make a joke, like, he didn't even try. And we were
Yeah.
like, why didn't he throw the knife? He, like, was, like, Jason Bourne in the scene, and then he's like, oh, my
Because
leg,
that's the
and
one
he
guy.
gave up. And
That's the one guy they wanted to find.
yeah,
right?
this is the one guy they need, and he, like, pretty much just gives up, and, like, he just, like, kind of sits down. He's like, oh, and he's not even that hurt. Like, I don't know. He chose to kick the baseball bat, so I feel like
Yeah.
he should have been. He knew that was coming, but I'm trying to think what happens after. Oh, so
But
after.
that's at the same time that's happening. John Travolta, he's called looking around for Lars and Charlie,
We
and he
went over
finds
that.
out that they're at
Lars?
this tattoo parlor. So he
Oh,
goes
right.
to the tattoo parlor.
Is that next scene?
Because
I-
to stress
that's,
why-
that's during
to
Christopher
stress-
Maloney's like barbershop fight.
Right. To stress why Charlie has a tattoo on his face. So he's trying to find if
Well,
he can
they're
find
saying it's kind of their hangout because clearly,
True.
because when he called, they're like, that was the one number that was on the burner phone was the
Right.
tattoo parlor.
Oh, right.
Right?
Okay.
So he
Who's
goes to
this?
this tattw parlor, and
Do you
he's
know
already
Lars?
called the tattoo parlor and
How about
asked for
Charlie?
Lars and Charlie. And then he gets to the tattoo parlor, he's like, hey, is Lars here? How about a Charlie? Like, just Just no.
My daughter said that
No
Lars has
subtlety.
really good tattoos.
Yeah, my daughter,
Yeah,
Laura.
he knew he said that Charlie something got some work from me, and then the guy, we never got his name, but he's like, Lars is alright, but I'm better.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So then, this is the scene that, like, for me is the best scene in the movie. They hide it. So what happens is Travolta is looking for Charlie and Lars. First of all, before we get to the big scene, he chooses to actually get a tattoo.
Well, that's his cover story.
That's his cover story. But he actually goes through with it.
I know.
Oh, 100%.
I didn't believe that at all.
Don't tell the viewers what the tattoo is, because if they haven't seen it, I want to reveal it. First, he lets himself get into a really bad position because he's apparently getting a tattoo on his back. So he's laying face down. You don't think if you oh man, we gotta talk about this. If you are trying to kill people, why didn't he get like an arm tattoo so he can at least be sitting in a chair or something? But first of all, he decides to get a tattoo. He's laying on his back.
On his
Oh,
stomach.
so yeah, he's laying on his stomach, face down, and they're having more. And he again he's talking about Charlie or something. Yeah, again, like he continues to go.
The tattoo artist is already onto him. He's already texted Lars and be like, some guy's asking for you, and the guy's like, okay, I'm on my way.
Keep him in the chair. And Dylan pointing out, he's like, how does he know he's in a chair?
I'm on my way.
Yeah. Lots of capitals in this movie too when people text.
Yeah, so keep him in the chair, I'm on the way. And so then John Travolta's getting this tattoo, he's doing whatever. And then so the guy's like questioning him, he's like, oh, how do you know Lars? And Travolta's like making up all this stuff, like, oh yeah, I did a really cool fly tattoo or whatever. And then Lars comes in, and the tattoo artist literally, he's like, oh, Lars is gonna finish up for you. No tattoo artist is gonna do that. None. Like, they're not gonna let somebody else do their work.
Especially when there's only 10 seconds left of tattoo, which is the case.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe Lars was just cheaping out. Maybe there was more that was supposed to be in this tattoo, but he's like, fuck this.
I don't know.
There's more than one Lars.
So you would think that here's one of these awkward time jumps. You would think that he's getting a very small tattoo because it would have only taken Lars maybe 30 minutes to get there. Maybe
safe assumption.
30 to 45 minutes, we'll say that. But then all of a sudden,
He's gonna have this long conversation about his daughter.
Lars doesn't trust Travolta anymore, and he pulls out a gun and points it at Travolta. And do I get to do this reveal because you two can't talk?
You can't talk. Yeah.
All of a sudden, you see Travolta's tattoo, and it is a massive back piece. And I'm talking massive.
His entire back. Yeah.
The entire back piece.
Great, the italics in the writing is amazing.
Which would have taken probably like
multiple
8
sessions.
hours. Multiple sessions.
Multiple sessions.
Like a minimum of 8 hours.
He's
Lots
been there
of
for half an
shading.
hour.
He's been there for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, but it would have taken, tons of shading. Not even shading, actually, just full-on coloring in black. But it says across his shoulder blades, I am Wrath, to be topped or bottomed off, I guess you could say. The middle to the rest of his back, actually, just covered in a large cross.
This is black italic writing with red outside.
Well, I think the red was just the pain of the tattoo.
Oh.
And it's established in this movie that he's not religious.
He's not
So
religious.
it took 2 days, and he's like, I'm gonna get
He
Iron
read
Man.
one sentence in the Bible, and he's like, I am sold. I am a religious man.
I am
and I'm gonna
Wrath.
get full-on back
And so-
tattoo.
I could take the Iron
His
Wrath,
back
but it's a
piece.
cross that puts it over the... And this is huge. It literally takes up his whole back.
It's literally his whole back. So it's like across his shoulder blades, probably in writing at least this big, if this can help you at all. But like that says, I am Wrath. And then this massive cross, this big.
Like I said, why would you choose to get that in your undercover
And
mission? Get
that's-
something small, upright. But he chose me on his back, and he's like, and I wanted that conversation too, like, but they saved it because they made a big deal. Because he sits up, and it's like the shirt's over. They make a big deal. It's like burns, like I am Wrath, and the crowd's like,
And then-
this is literally the origin of a superhero movie, legitimately. That's what it felt like.
Totally.
Oh my god.
And so he then kills Lars.
Mhm.
And
Well, let's talk about that fight scene a little bit, because that was something
I don't
else.
even remember
Yeah,
because
what
I
happened?
He
made
whips out a sword!
Oh,
God! Oh my god!
I fucking love this movie. I said it's GTA the movie. He does just whip out a sword. And like
Where did it come from?
he gets thrown to the side and he just
No,
runs
he
out
doesn't
with
even have
it.
the sword to start. He has a gun, and they fight, and then they crash through a counter, and suddenly
He just
Lars
pulls
has a
his
sword.
And Travolta's in no pain too. He had this huge mask.
Where do the other tattoo artists go?
What? He
just left?
He just-
left.
He's like,
I'm
not
off,
getting,
bro.
there's a sword involved.
That
I'm
place
not
was
getting
pretty
involved.
dead. It was like 10
Yeah.
o'clock at night.
And so, he has a sword, and then Travolta gets knocked against the counter, and he sees an X-Acto knife. So that's what he chooses to fight
There's a big
sword guy
struggle over
with.
it for a
Oh
while.
yeah. And then he kills Lars.
And he wins,
With
though.
the
He
X-Acto
wins.
knife.
He wins, ladies and gentlemen, with the X-Acto
Sword
knife.
versus X-Acto knife. X-Acto
Taking the
knife is
W.
gonna win.
Battle for the ages.
Oh my god.
And then after this scene, we flash to.
If you watch no other scene, you need to watch it. That's my favorite scene of the movie.
we're pretty much just doing like a play-by-play of this movie.
You
which I'm
have
not
to
upset
kind of
about.
because this is a movie you would not believe us if we skimmed over things. It wouldn't make sense. You have to preference that tattoo.
This
We need
is
some structure.
Yeah, because obviously he kills
Some
Lars,
backstory
and the
to
other
everything.
tattoo artist is fucked off, and so he didn't get any care for this tattoo now, and like
The
he
tattoo's
didn't get
wet.
it clean.
Oh, yeah.
It up.
The
And he said,
tattoo's wet.
literally 5 seconds, he's like, don't move, it's wet. And then he gets up and his shirt goes over. So do you think on his tattoo now is like all smudged?
That's why when he's laying in the bed contemplating about his life. He's like, it must be so uncomfortable. That's
Oh,
why
yeah.
he's
The
sad.
next scene, he's drinking, he's taking pills, he's
drinking
crying, and we
taking
thought it was about the
pills,
tattoo.
And he's like, he's in his bed, he's clearly uncomfortable. Which I will give this props because they clearly show he's uncomfortable in this bed from his probably now infected
I
tattoo.
don't think it was because of that. I think he was trying to play uncomfortable because of his wife.
Oh,
I
no,
think at
it
this-
definitely was.
Yeah, I think
But
at this
we were
point
just
Travolta
saying-
has no. Yeah, I don't think that he actually played it as
no,
a tattoo.
No more
No.
props.
Because he had a huge
No way.
he
The
had
way
a huge
weird-
fight scene with that tattoo and he was fine. He landed on his back multiple
Yeah,
times.
but that was he had adrenaline.
The way
pumping,
we were
he
jokingly
was-
perceiving it is that he was like, why the fuck did I get this tattoo?
Yeah,
It's 'cause
that's
it's-
what all the pills on the side of the bed.
Because this tattoo is, if you legitimately
It's
saw this
massive.
on a person too, it's awful. Like, it is in italic and the cross looks...
Yeah, it doesn't even look good. It's
Drag
just black and
children.
Oh,
red.
it's bad. It's not. It like I said, it's not shaded. It's literally
Yeah. Think of
black
Joey.
and thick, dark black ink.
And we don't actually see that tattoo ever again.
Ever
Oh, no,
again.
never.
Never.
And it was only in like a 2-second segment.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
If you would have looked at it, you would have missed it. But I'm so
it's
glad...
obviously they didn't actually tattoo anyone. Yeah, they
No.
just quickly did some sort
I
of
think
effect.
I was
part
hoping for the
is, too, we
sequel
were
he'd be
hoping
shirtless.
We were hoping that
Oh, we should
it
brought
was,
it back
or
on
not
TV.
hoping, but we thought it was maybe just gonna say Wrath, and like that makes sense, whatever. But no, I am Wrath and a massive cross.
Oh, yeah, he went full out.
I think the movie title would have been better if it just was Wrath, to be honest.
Not now, because...
No.
Because
Because
that tattoo...
honestly, if the title wasn't I Am Wrath, I don't think I would have picked it out. Because it's that cheesy line that made me
That's
like,
fair.
wow,
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what this movie is.
I
So
Am
that kind of
Wrath.
sold it for me. Like, you need that good title.
The next thing we have coming up is another classic, the club scene. So at some point now...
That was next.
Was it Lemmy K's name? I keep forgetting.
Lemmy
Lemmy
K.
K says to Charlie, because they took the guy's cocaine or meth or whatever, the guy that they killed, they took all his shit, and Charlie was supposed to pick it up from him. And he's like, you better get my order. Like, that's
Yeah.
my that's my property. He said that so many times.
Yeah.
So then John Travolta hits up Charlie something or something, who he's been looking for the whole movie, because he has his phone number, and he's like,
well, to clarify, Charlie something or something is actually the guy who stabs his wife. and
who just
kills
stabbed
her.
him in the throat once, and that was
Over
it, yeah.
$3.
Yeah.
Yeah, over $3.
So
not nothing.
he is like the biggest form of hatred, right?
Yeah.
He actually killed her.
So they are coaxing him to pick up the money. It's him and Maloney, like, oh, pick this up, blah, blah, blah. And they decide to do a pickup at a very popular club scene. Like, I don't... When Maloney's like, oh, that's fine because there's lots of exits, and he says, let him pick it because he'll feel safe.
Yeah.
I still feel like maybe not in the public place is best, because what happens in the scene is a fucking massacre.
It was awesome. It was amazing.
I said this, if you played Grand Theft Auto and you've just gone to a club with a strip scene and you just shoot all the innocent AIs, that's what this was. We don't know if they're innocent, but
No,
it
I
didn't
think-
feel like they
I
felt like they were
all
killed.
They
security.
tried
Yeah,
to
but
emphasize they
still-
were only shooting people with guns, but
Yeah.
it did not. You couldn't
But
tell.
even then, like, just how like ruthless they were, like, there's definitely some people getting clipped in the crossfire.
Oh yeah,
At
because
least.
they're- and the thing is too, at one point, Charlie Maloney's at the bar and they get this back and forth scene where
I'm so
a 10 walks up to him like, "Hey," and he's like, "Not tonight. Like, I'd love to, but no."
No,
Yes.
I'm doing business.
I'm
You
doing-
Yeah.
business?
Yes.
No.
And then he's like,
yeah,
"Call."
what,
yeah,
what
no.
was that? What is that?
He goes, yes, no,
Yeah.
yet, no.
And he's like, "Not tonight.
Not
I'm doing
tonight."
business." And then she's like, "Business, ew." And then he's like,
Ew.
"Call me." Like the line that's in every fucking movie. But at that point,
no, it wasn't just call me. It was she's walking away. He's like, call me, and like he's like, like desperate for this call.
She can't hear him.
Yeah,
and like there's no
that
reason.
club
He knew
music's
it.
bumping.
There was
so.
no reason for her to walk up to him. He just portrays that badass awareness. But what happens is he's at the bottom of the club and there's like a top VIP section and Charlie's standing up there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was jokingly like he should just shoot him and they got him. But I was like, oh, they probably want to use some tact and not like they want to take him out silently. Nope, because in 5 minutes they are just like blowing everything to shit. So like, why didn't you just shoot him? Like, I'll say no, why?
Because he sets him up so Travolta can go interrogate him again.
Yeah.
And,
He's just like there for
so
backup.
he gets him in. Charlie, he's like,
Always.
meet me in the VIP. So Charlie goes in the VIP, and then he sees this like
Oh,
Asian
yeah.
gentleman who's sitting
Yeah,
there
that
with a
was so
briefcase,
awkward.
who's clearly doing some business of his own, probably some form of drug dealing, and
They're eyeballing each other.
totally.
Oh, yeah.
And so they're like doing these weird, awkward looks back at each
Eye-fucking each other
and
so hard.
and like he texts like, "Is that my shit?" Like. But he's clearly not going to the Asian guy.
Yeah,
who he
clearly
thinks
the guy
he's
doesn't
going
answer
to. And
yet.
then the Asian guy's response, because clearly he's not getting a text, is, "What are you looking at?" And like across the VIP section of this bar, and he's like does the whole thing, and then he gets his little minion to like go after Charlie.
Yeah.
And
And that's when Travolta pops in, I think, right?
and,
Yeah.
Well, yes, because then Christopher Maloney's down there, and he's saying to. He texts Travolta like,
Yeah.
Oh,
okay,
Travolta
he's
walks in with
VIP.
the hood up.
He's got the hood up,
Yeah.
and he's like
He looks like
walking
a-
through
Common
the
theme in
club.
this.
Looks like a
And it's
Sith
like-
Lord.
I don't think the bouncers would let him in. Like, why would they?
No, what I was gonna say is they do actually show that, Emily, because the bouncer, the guy who's like guarding the VIP room, is like distracted because he's talking to some girl because she's like.
No, but I mean
Yeah.
into the club in general. Do you
Oh,
think
But
okay.
that
Maloney
the
says
No,
he
no,
knows
well-
multiple exits, and I trust
club... Oh,
him.
so he just snuck in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my thing, I don't know if you
Accept
mentioned, my favorite thing is when he texts, like, VIP again, and he didn't get a response, the Asian guy, like, pushes his bag to the side.
Oh,
so
yeah.
to make it look like he is the guy getting
Yeah.
the text. So it was really funny. But yeah, the hood, it's funny. Like, he wears the hood
It's
more
a
than
common
Luke
theme.
Cage.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
he's like constantly, that's his costume. Because in the bar
Yeah.
with the pool
Yeah.
cube, this, like,
Yeah.
that's his superhero costume is the hood. And yeah, the club scene, that's another thing that stands out because they just kill so many people.
Yeah,
and they just
it was
tear
brutal.
through.
So many.
Oh yeah, but it was brutal to the point where like,
All the headshots were great.
oh
And
yeah.
I will also bring this up because there's literally no significance to it for the rest of the movie. But twice, Christopher Maloney brought up like after they kill somebody, or when they're about to kill somebody, Christopher Maloney says, "We've got 3 minutes." This happens twice, and we don't know why. I'm assuming he knows that it's going to take 3 minutes
He's
for
a
cops
machine.
to get
Yeah,
there.
it happens multiple
It
times.
happens.
He's
It
a
happens
machine.
twice, but
So
never
good.
again, and
Oh, okay.
they never tell us why.
Oh, it's amazing.
And
I'm
actually,
so-
he gets shot multiple times, and he's okay. I think he's a
It's
robot.
flesh wound.
It's a flesh wound. I think he's a robot, and he taps into like security cameras or like
Yeah.
road cameras, and he sees the cop coming. So
Well,
like 3
especially
minutes.
because the second time in the club scene when he says we've got 3 minutes, remember, and then all of a sudden it flashes to a scene of all these security guards coming in with machine guns, and then he goes, "What? Never mind, 1 minute." And it's like, he can't see that, right?
Psycho.
Like, but he just
Hey, one
knows
thing
they're
even too,
coming.
because Maloney, his character, he's downstairs in the bar still, and the only thing like blocking off the VIP room is like some curtains. Like it's not even a
Yeah.
wall, and he's just firing blindly through it. Like he could easily
he is
kill innocent
sniping.
people. He could easily kill
That
He
happens.
Travolta.
snipes across the
That
bar.
He
happens.
is sniping every single person he wants to with a handgun, like
great.
with a
Through a
handgun,
curtain, yeah.
with
And that happens
insane
again later,
accuracy.
remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
With insane accuracy, because Travolta walks in and I don't even know what is. Oh, the bouncer comes. He kills the bouncer, or no, he grabs the bouncer, and then the
Use him as
little
a body
Asian guy
shield,
who
yeah.
was
Yeah.
conversing with Charlie
The
kills
meat
the
shield,
bouncer, and then Maloney from downstairs kills the Asian guy,
Yeah.
and like
There-
just
it was
headshot
great. It was
snipes
awesome.
him with a handgun.
It was pretty good.
It is
It was-
just
it was
phenomenal
amazing.
Nice shot.
accuracy.
Nice shot.
And did we mention that scene? That's where he finds out that there's a like something
A
going
bigger
on?
plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we did mention that. Yeah, because
Well,
that.
we're mentioning
Wow.
it now.
Okay,
We
yeah,
are now.
that's what happens when he goes to kill Charlie, which he does. He just
He interrogates him.
dead better than usual, but he just dead shots him in the head. But like, yeah, he says he's like, I didn't want to kill your wife. She was a nosy bitch, and then we find out that there's more to it. And at that point, Lemmy K is sent. He decides that he's gonna go get Travolta's daughter, which I
Yeah.
called in this movie. This scene,
I was gonna say there's a lot of things that like you guys all kind of called that were gonna happen.
But they were
pretty
great
predictable.
when we
Yeah.
saw them.
Oh,
It
it
wasn't
was
bad.
amazing.
I was like, oh,
They paid off.
Because
just before that tattoo, you're like, oh, please don't be I am Wrath on his
I
chest.
thought no, just Wrath. I'm like, please don't be a Wrath. And when it said that's what put me over the edge. Wrath would have been like, I still would laugh my ass off, but I would be like, okay, but I am Wrath was just like, wow, like he committed.
Yeah.
But this scene is another scene to me that stands out because
one thing quick is that before or after the car, like they shoot him up in the car and they.
oh right, the random drive by that happens before the club scene.
It must have been before because that was because Charlie something or something was the guy who did that.
Yeah.
And what I don't get about this is the daughter's husband gets shot
Yeah.
because
In
a
the
drive-by
shoulder.
happens.
Yeah,
He gets
that
shot,
never-
and they say take him. It's like let's take him to the hospital. The hospital does not question how this like middle-aged upper-class white guy got
Well, we don't
shot.
see that scene, so they could
No,
have.
but also, well, if it was a drive-by and it's the woman who was just murdered,
The cops are
son-in-law,
dirty.
like they were. That's gonna be news.
And then he's
though. That's
fine.
gonna be
Like,
news.
he's fine. Like a couple days later, he's
Oh,
walking
yeah.
again. Yeah, he's good.
We actually don't see him
Just
until the
the
time
room
jump,
for
to
the
be
shoulder.
honest. The father, like her husband. We don't see him until the time jump
Well,
again.
and
so
that
I'll
was
give him
another
that.
3 days in the.
Well, he was in the
But
hospital.
still, like
Three
I feel like if he
references
was shot in
in
the
this
chest, like I don't know.
Fair enough.
But
that-
even the thing with that scene too is because she like they crash into a tree and yeah they weren't going very fast, but she gets out. She's like totally fine, like
Oh, yeah.
not even in shock. Like she just like it's like she just like bumped into the curb and was like, oh,
I
what
was
happened?
gonna say, well,
Well,
in
he was
fairness,
truly
they
her
are
daughter.
definitely going slower
Truly her
than
daughter.
30. Like,
Yeah.
And at that point, too, I forgot to
Kilometers, I should
mention
say.
that she has seen, like, in the house guns and papers, so she knows that he's up to something now.
Yeah.
So she has an idea. But, so now the scene next after is Lemmy K, the big drug dealer. They're going to go get Travolta's daughter. So it's Travolta's daughter, a babysitter, and her kid, Jimmy. Travolta's just
Jimmy?
at home. Yeah, it's Jimmy.
I thought it was Joey.
What? That's the
Fake
the
name?
the
text.
fake name, yeah, the text name. Because he's like, the two things he throws out is like, she texted me the Joey and his name's Jimmy, and then he's like, she never texted me, which I know Emily's like, oh, it's because she phones, but the way he said it made it sound like she just didn't give a fuck about me.
Yeah.
She never texts me.
Which is a fair assumption.
Yeah, who knows? But then what happens is the scene where they decide, the drug dealers take them over there, they're holding them at gunpoint, everything like that, and then it's Lemmy K and one guy, and they're like, go get your dad. And she's like, give me a minute. To kind of imply that the dad's there, so she goes into the kitchen. They really let her have slack. Like, the guy's
no,
following her.
she says my phone's in the kitchen.
Okay. They give her a lot of slack because, yeah, they're following her around, but she's really far away from them.
Yeah.
In the kitchen, there's a kitchen knife. She takes it, stabs the guy who's like, we'll call him bodyguard, or we'll call him criminal number one.
two.
Because he
Number
two.
70.
Yeah, number 70. Because, like, he gets beat up a lot in this, but he gets stabbed right in the shoulder.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, we lost in the room. Lemmy K turns around and just kills the babysitter in front of her
Oh, yeah.
and the child.
Another
And-
slow motion shot.
and it was like,
yes.
what? Like, I
So
thought it was just
good.
gonna be like, gun, like, stop doing this, but he just kills her. She's flying back, like,
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was.
That was surprising. It was good.
Oh, yeah.
It got me off guard.
And
Caught me
then
off guard
the
for
guy
sure.
that did get stabbed's not dead, so they're holding him at gunpoint again. Like we said, Travolta knows something's up. He's going there. Maloney's somewhere because of his flesh wounds or whatever. Oh no, he's about right. He does come back, but he's gone. He's always like gone. He's gone just so he can make a dramatic entrance and again. Like that's the only reason is they never explain why he's gone, but to save the day with a sniper, this or that. Travolta gets to the house. Of course, he kind of gets the upper hand, but then they get the upper hand on him because remember, there's someone behind him. And then what happens is they have him at gunpoint. Oh wait, no, that's with the cop coming
The
up. Sorry.
detective comes in.
Yeah, but Travolta doesn't he just kill them?
No,
No.
so they have Travolta at gunpoint, and then
His friend snipes him. Like,
No.
that's where the sniper
Oh right,
shot
the
And
comes in.
sniper he
Maloney's
takes out
out
criminal
across the
70.
street.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maloney's out across the street, snipes
Criminal
Lemmy
Seven.
No.
K.
The
Lenny.
Lenny.
K. he-
Because Lenny had his daughter
Oh,
at
right in the
gunpoint.
hand.
Yeah.
Not even the
No,
hand.
and then, but the funny part about you thought it was the hand, but then later when they showed Lemmy, it was the shoulder because he was grabbing his shoulder.
Could have been both.
The same shoulder
Like
shot
that.
everyone has had.
And then
Yeah,
Criminal
classic
70 gets
shoulder.
killed by Travolta really dramatically because Dylan Boy has to get shot, but he like goes back
Yeah, well,
twice.
he gets shot twice, but then like the reaction of getting shot twice is like 3 seconds later, like literally two separate jerks.
Yeah.
And,
It was pretty funny.
Outside, Christopher Maloney, like they hear the gunshots happening inside, and the
Criminal number 71
comes and he shoots Christopher Maloney,
that movie.
hits him,
Oh, like
and then he
snipe
falls
shot
down
with
some
handgun.
stairs.
Oh, right. He falls down a whole bunch of stairs. Like,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
And then you just see a trail of blood and he's gone. And then, oh, no, he's not
No,
gone.
he's
What
not.
happened
He's
to-
hiding.
He's hiding. And what? Yeah, he's...
Criminal 71 comes looking for him.
Yeah. This
And
is not
he's-
Criminal 70, to be honest. This
No,
is another guy just...
71.
Wait,
71.
So he's coming around the car, he's got his gun, and then all of a
He
sudden,
says, hey!
hey!
And he shoots
Christopher
him.
Maloney goes, hey! And then he goes, bam, bam!
And that's it. He
Headshot.
This
That's it.
Criminal 71 is awful. And then he comes in, there's so much killing that's starting to take place, but then what happens is everyone's dead, and then he has Lemmy K still alive. Travolta's interrogating
Yeah.
him. A detective who we didn't clarify earlier too much,
No,
but
and then
he's...
Lemmy K says, I have backup too. Doesn't
No,
he?
no,
Or is
no,
that
no,
No,
the
that's the
detective.
cop.
That's the
We
cop.
didn't clarify. There's two major detectives that are like the most dirty. They're the one that let the guy loose. So they are recurring in this movie. Like that's only scenes with the governor. They're talking to him. Those are the most boring scenes because
Yeah.
like we don't care. But
Yeah.
so it's Tori Spelling's ex. That's the
I
cop.
thought it was. I don't know though. After
Oh, it
reading
might
the
not be, but
credits.
any-
It's the look.
oh.
Tori Spelling's ex lookalike.
Yeah. But anyway, so he comes in and shoots Lemmy Case before he can tell him anything. And then Travolta's like they're doing a standoff and he's like, I have backup. And then the bad cop comes in, another bad cop, and then Travolta's like, I also have backup. And then he
Maloney just
Comes out of
hits
nowhere.
the back-
he hits the back of the cop, and then what happens is he takes his gun and Maloney like a bass comes up and he has two guns and he's like
No, he pulls up his one gun and then he
Right.
goes, ho ho!
and then that cop
And then he
is just like
immediately puts it down.
Yeah.
Instantly.
Yeah, he
He raised it for like half a second and
Bam.
he's just like, I don't really need it.
and then
So-
Dirty
Yeah.
Detective doesn't even give a chance because he could probably at least kill one of them, but he's like, you got me, and he gives up.
Yeah.
And then again, we get to this point where Travolta has put the other cop, the black cop, in the back of the car, in the trunk, and then he is with the other detective, shaggy hair detective, with a gun pointed to him in the back. Maloney again is gone. He's just gone.
He's
Once
gone
again,
again.
no reason. And he was shot, so maybe that was it, but he doesn't even say, like, I need to go heal up. He's just gone. So this is where he's going to use the detective to get into the governor's like mansion because he says it's gated. So he's going to use it in there. And then he's like, oh, they've doubled up security. They really make this. We've talked about this scene already. They're all knocked out. But what happens also in this scene...
He's clued in that the governor's killed his wife.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the
That's
biggest
been
thing.
revealed. He's the big bad now.
Yeah.
So that scene
He's the
where...
kingpin.
Yeah, exactly. The worst version. But everyone's knocked out. In that same scene, Travolta's going to the mansion. You see him kill a couple people. But you go back to the cops. Everyone's knocked out. Or I guess actually, everyone's killed.
Yeah.
And then he handcuffed the cop to the car. What happens is he looks outside his window and sees that he put some matches in like his gasoline tank and they're about to blow up.
Yeah, and so the second cop, he gets out of the trunk. He
By
pops up.
kicking it.
How? Yeah,
he
like,
kicks it.
he was
He's been
stuck in
kicking
his
the whole
trunk for
time,
hours,
but
so-
this time he kicks it.
Yeah.
And then the car blows up. The black cop jumped in time apparently because he does survive. We'll get to that later.
Oh, it
but
doesn't
it
look
did
like
not
it.
look like it because
Not at
he's
all.
just gone in the
He was-
fire.
He just literally
He
his first step out of the car.
Literally, this is probably the best
And then
ending
his body
ever.
disappears.
He's
Yeah.
standing there, and then he's not, and it's like he's standing there. The explosion happens, but as the explosion happens, because they want you to be distracted by that, they clearly this is a different scene. They cut him out of it completely,
Yeah.
like Photoshop cut him out of
Yeah.
it, and it's like
And I did say he probably was alive even though his body was gone, but I was like, I don't know, there was a reason he got out of that
But
car,
there's-
right? And there was, ladies and
I
gentlemen,
also
there was. Just wait.
something we forgot to mention earlier that I want to bring up. So obviously when they kill Nathan, like the first bad guy, they blow him up in the garbage can, and they blow up these guys in the car. But then the other thing that I think this is after like the barbershop fight, so I'm jumping back here.
Mhm.
But he puts the bodies back in a car. He takes the car to a junkyard
Oh,
and has like the
yeah.
crusher
Oh,
thing
yeah.
destroy it. So like
Pulp
they
Fiction.
really cover their tracks. Like, it
Christopher
was.
Maloney,
Except
like,
by
has
not wearing any gloves, though, too.
connections.
Oh, yeah, for
Maloney
sure.
has connections. Like he, like knows the cops are coming in 3
Knows
minutes.
all the
like, he
bars
knows
in
the,
town.
Knows the exits in the
knows all the
clubs.
exits of like certain clubs.
Yeah. Has a great
I
think-
shooting range.
He's probably just a serial killer. He probably just goes around killing people for fun, and then like when someone wants to join him, he's like,
freelance-
yeah,
He still does freelance black ops. So
yeah, true.
And then we get to the
Yeah,
big
so back to the mansion.
in
scene.
Ohio.
we get to the big finale where John Travolta has gone into the room or gone in the governor's house.
Yep.
And he's just taking out security left, right. And then lo and behold, out of nowhere, the governor comes, and you gotta watch all the action scenes, right? The governor comes out of the stairwell with a shotgun and shoots Travolta. First of all, you see no wounds on Travolta or any holes didn't point out, but with a shotgun. And then he walks over and he starts talking to him. Clearly he planned to kill him, but he just wanted to say something like, what do you know? Or I can't remember. He says something like that. Like he's trying to find out what he
Yeah.
knows. So maybe he's just trying to cover his tracks, see who else knows. but he shot him already, like, to assume in the back, and then he's just, like, has the gun to his head, but he's talking, and then they land into this fight scene, which I didn't believe the governor had that much of a chance, but he actually beats up Travolta quite, like, this governor, like, and he's an older guy, he's not even, but he fights like he's Rambo or something, like, him and Travolta have a big fight scene.
It was awesome.
And then how does he end up killing him?
I don't even know.
Remember, because Travolta goes to his boot where he had the knife.
Right.
Now, you see earlier in the movie, this is what I called.
This
is the thing I called, because at some point you see him put the knife in the boot, which is the classic
You hear the knife
scene.
sound?
And yeah, so that's
sound
the
effects are
final
big
scene.
in this too. At one point too, when Travolta was getting shaved, the knife wasn't even on his face, and it was like you could tell nothing. But yeah, Dylan did call that because like, they emphasized, that knife boot's gonna come in handy, and it was like in the middle of the movie, and then it happened. He killed him, and he slit his throat. There's also a throat slitting in this too.
What blood?
Yeah, and then it leads to one of the two of the greatest scenes ever. Also, he has his Batman moment. There's like. He's in the window, there's like this light kind of shining on to make it all look epic, and the whole like classic kind of Batman line where they're like, I am Batman, he goes, I am Wrath. He doesn't like he pauses long between I and am, but am and Wrath are together. Am Wrath.
And it's kind of quiet too.
Yeah, but it's his full-on superhero origin moment. Like we were like, he better say it.
Wait, honestly,
and he said it, and we lost.
Like with a name like Stanley Hill, like it kind of seems like they're trying to set up something here. You know, like I could totally see it.
Oh yeah, like I don't know, who knows? I'm obsessed with this movie. I'm gonna look at all this stuff because on Netflix it said it was released in 2015, so we don't know. On Rotten Tomatoes said 2016, but. And that leads to the second scene where, of course, pretty much they've called the whole military to take out this guy, which, okay, maybe...
All the red dots on his chest.
The governor.
But, so that he walks out on the patio, he has expensive patio, walks out, and it's just filled. The field's filled with cops, and...
They all have their guns pointing at him.
Lasers pointing to everything. And then they say, put your gun down, we're going to fire. And I was so worried he was going to die, because he has a gun and shotgun now, he takes it, and they just blast him. They load him up, everything like that. And it's a classic, okay, hero's going to kill himself. Now, what we talked about a little... Chris Molly at one point says this is the best body armor in the market. It's silk, it's silk on ass. So of course you guys call it. He was wearing it, but the reason I didn't call it because I thought, okay, so why did he do that? Because if he knew he had the body armor, he's clearly not gonna die. So I thought, he's gonna kill himself. But no, he gets shot in the arms multiple times.
It's not even clearly because if they shoot him in the head, he's dead.
Yeah. So is that what he was hoping, that they're gonna shoot him in the head?
Maybe.
I don't know what his plan was, man.
No,
very confusing.
No, he still has family.
Because it was kind of confusing because at this point in the movie, he's killed all the people that wronged him. He killed the guy who killed his wife.
So why
the accomplices, the governor.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, okay, he's done. Like his prophecy's fulfilled. Like he can
Wrath.
Yeah, he's done.
I still thought, wouldn't he maybe want to go to prison and see his grandkids grow up? But he's just like, no, I'm done.
Well, essentially where
I wasn't getting the feeling that he really cared about his family a whole lot.
Yeah, but he chooses to kind of kill himself.
Yeah,
he just puts a shotgun. I truthfully am hoping that this character actually thought he could take out the entire cops. That's what my hope was.
The only reason this happened is so that we could be set up for the hospital scene,
which is another great scene.
Yeah.
So what happens is they jump. We don't know.
3 days.
Yeah.
No, they said I haven't seen him
3
for
minutes.
3 days. 3 days, 3 minutes. Wife's dead.
5
3
hours,
days.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then so they cut to that, and he's incapacitated, right? He's on a gas mat, they're giving oxygen. He's like I said, only shot on the arms too. He has bandages all around his arms, and of course they're making this case to his daughter that it's he's going to prison no matter what because of this, and he's a black ops guy, and this and this and this, all this stuff. And then what happens at that? The family's told the
daughter's freaking out because she's not allowed to see him, and they find out that because he's now considered a national security threat. So they're going to try him without a lawyer, without a jury. He's just getting tried by the highest court they can possibly think of.
The federal
and the daughter's not happy with this whatsoever. She is
not. She's not been happy.
But she doesn't know that he killed the governor, I don't think.
They let his ass walk.
Yeah.
She's not happy a lot in this movie, and it's really overacting.
So they get told, no, you have to leave, visiting hours are over. And but she breaks past the security guards, runs into her dad's room and says, Dad, I love you.
But then it's revealed later.
But then it's revealed later on that when she did this, she snuck a gun out of her purse and
tucked
gun,
it
into her
Not
dad's...
even a pocket gun.
No,
it's a full-on Beretta.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's his favorite gun.
They make a point of that.
So
that's his
she
Walter PPK.
tucked it into his hospital blankets and then fine, I'll leave, and they leave. And then there's security guards clearly guarding his room because he's a national security threat.
This seems
And
great.
all of a sudden, these other two cops show up. They're like, "Oh, we're here to relieve you for the night shift." And the one guy goes, "You go get some coffee for us." And so
He
he's
just
the
got
only
there too.
cop-
Why
yeah.
that cop need to go get
Why
coffee?
didn't they bring it with them?
Yeah, and he's like, you go get coffee, and it's like, still
So-
there should be one of you.
So the one guy stays there and
Big
he takes
reveal.
off his hat, and it is the cop from the trunk who was blown up.
And it's
But-
been 3 days, so one thing too. First, the burn on his face, he's looking like Two-Face, but not even. It's like a little thing on his cheek.
Just a scuff.
Yeah. And it's been 3 days, so even then, it's like, even if it's little, 3 days,
It
it looks
for the makeup, okay?
it looks like he's at least been 6 months to a year of healing. No, 3 days, he is fine. Like, it just looks like a scar now.
He literally just got like some heat
It's a tight
on
budget.
his face apparently.
Yeah.
And that's
Like, he was
all.
just a little
It was
close
like
to
gonna
the
have
microwave.
sunburn basically. Yeah.
And then he just says to Travolta he's going to kill him because he'll be a hero and all this and blah, blah, blah. And then you do see behind him, there's like a sheet, like a hospital sheet separating the door. You see the door slowly opening. So we thought Maloney, who appears to be Maloney, was going to kill him. He does, kind of, but then it's revealed that Travolta has a gun. So
That's
they
how we
both
find
just
out.
kind of shoot him.
Yeah.
And like Dylan pointed out, they both easily could have shot each other
Yeah, like
accidentally.
think about the way it's lined up. They're on like either side, and the guy's right in the middle. So, yeah, the crossfire, very high possibility.
But that is the conversation they have because Maloney says, "Well, I saved your ass," and he's like, "No, you didn't. I got him. He had the gun." And then he's
No
like, "Well, you
silencers
should
as well.
next time you just shouldn't shoot because I'm right here. Like you knew I was here." And like it was just
They have lots of
they
good
have
back
a
and
good
forth.
like comedy buddy
They have some
back
solid
and forth.
chemistry.
This is the best action comedy since the 80s. And then, yeah, they also, none of these
Whoa.
men have silencers.
No,
So
no.
it's like super loud.
In the
Why would
hospital.
you
In the hospital?
the intensive care unit of the
Yeah.
hospital, which is apparently dead, where usually nurses are everywhere.
And then
Especially if they hear
It's
gunfire.
nighttime,
Well,
you know.
and remember
It's
again,
the ICU, intensive care.
and again, remember, he's like, we gotta get out of here. You have 3 minutes. He hits him with it again. Then
Yeah.
You have 3 minutes. And then, classic, he's rolling in a wheelchair. Travolta has the hood up while
Oh,
he's in the
it's
wheelchair.
so good.
And then you hear the hospital, like, security breach, all this,
Security
and then...
breach.
No, he's
in
like,
the
we got 3 minutes
intensive
to
care
leave.
unit.
Yeah, that's
The
what I mean,
hospital.
again. And then they're just arguing back and forth, and they fade to black. So I'm like, oh, please don't be
You
over.
know what? Maybe here's the thing. Maybe Maloney, like his watch, he has like a timer on it for 3 minutes, and he
Yeah.
doesn't know how to change
Maybe
it. So
that's
everything
like-
is always has
no,
to be
maybe
3
it's
minutes.
a classic Black Ops thing that we just don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
like
maybe
in
let
Black
us
Ops,
know.
all missions have to be like succeeded within 3 minutes. We don't know. If you
Let
are
us
Black
know,
Ops,
Black
let
Ops.
us know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Please.
Something keep
We
And then
need this.
It fades to black. We fade back in on someone's feet. It appears to be a mailman. It's to Travolta's daughter. Hands her some mail. The family's looking healthy and happy. They're all good. And then
They get a postcard.
from where was he?
Sao
Sao
Paulo.
Paulo.
Yeah, and then there's of course John Travolta classic like voiceover, just like, oh, I love you. I'm happy and safe. The
Dear
voiceover.
Abby.
The voiceover is really like, I don't know. It's classic Travolta. Like it's not creepy, but it's like it's not
You
heartfelt.
can tell he's just reading lines.
Yeah,
You
and then
can
at,
tell.
at
He
one
may
point,
have done that over the phone, like literally.
literally, and then at one point, I can't remember the line before, but then he says, "Abby, you are truly my daughter," and it's like I said to Dylan, I felt like maybe that means there was a subplot in this movie where like she was questioning her biological status
Right.
because like it felt really out of place. Like, you are truly my
But
daughter.
To
But it
me,
was like,
that was
Well,
like
maybe-
to me that was like almost like an insult. Like, yeah, you're a filthy criminal, is what you are for bringing me that gun. Like, that's
She's
what
a
I was taking it
badass,
as.
but
or it's like I'm
Like, you don't want to be that guy.
Like, I wasn't sure you were my daughter, but
yeah.
now for
Or
sure.
this whole life, he's like, it's his daughter, but he doesn't really care about it. But it's like, now, because you've done this,
You know-
you're my daughter.
Maybe it's more like one of those
You're
things where it's like,
truly
oh, like
my
you're
daughter.
your mother's child, not mine.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no,
Right.
like you're
Yeah,
mine.
you're my
You
daughter.
truly are
Yeah.
my daughter.
And then it ends, and there was no end credit scene, unfortunately. And then, is there anything that sticks out before we want to give this?
I think we covered
The
it.
dumpster scene when they
Oh.
dump the bodies and
Yeah.
afterwards they go for burgers.
No donuts.
Donuts.
Remember
Donut
donuts, and
place?
then
Buckeyes
and then you're like,
donuts.
oh, you go with the donuts for that, and then he makes some line too. He's like, oh, you need some refueling after that. It's like, oh, they cover it.
Yeah.
They cover everything in this
Everything.
movie that we have a question about. Like, I legitimately
Hey, this
feel.
movie had a good structure to it. It made sense.
Yeah, it didn't have plot holes. It was just kind of like they hit the fuck it button, and they're like, so instead of like, oh, how are they gonna have
That's
this club?
exactly.
How are they gonna have this club? Oh, they're just gonna shoot everybody, and that's fucking awesome. Like, we're going to ratings. I'm starting. I'm giving this a fucking 3, 100% because
I thought you were gonna say 5 and my heart
No,
dropped.
no,
It's
no.
like, what?
because like I could still say
Slow
I
down,
loved it.
Taylor.
I could still say I loved it, but I couldn't give it an actual 5. But I'm giving it a 3 because this is the most fun I've had with any movie we've watched, and it's one of these things. Yes, it's still a bad movie, but this is the so bad it's good. I know we've
Yeah.
had that before. We talked about with Witch Hunter for you, and like for Ghost Rider with me. But Ghost Rider there was still always a level of bad where it's like it didn't reach that eclipse of like bad.
The difference is like there's moments, right? Because in those
Yeah.
movies there's moments, and even the whole for me, like the clown, the little like mannequin thing.
Yeah.
Like there's like really good scenes, but overall the movie's like, oh, that was a boring half an hour. But
Yeah.
this movie just like kept up the pace, right?
Oh yeah, and like I said, anything like
The pacing was good. It was
yeah, and it's an hour and a half, like you said, so it was short, and just everything from first we had that dumpster scene, then to the tattoo scene, then to the babysitter getting shot, then the club scene, and the bar, and like
it was like predictable, but like it wasn't like when the babysitter got shot, like I did not expect that at all.
And so unnecessary.
And it was
so unnecessary.
But it was so good because it was a slow motion
with
too.
A gun
They made a big deal, like she
Even
was
the death was just so slow motion of like his wife getting stabbed and just holding her.
But the weird part is because when
the fake
not
body.
to even take it back, but before she got shot, when they're like getting the kid ready to go before Lemmy K shows up, she says Auntie blah blah blah. So it's like, is this like somebody they're related to?
And this is the first time we're meeting her too.
Yeah.
But they
or
make
is
it
it
seem,
just like
they make it seem
they
like
call her auntie?
that's why I'm wondering if there's a half an hour of more family stuff with Travolta. Because
I get the feeling she wasn't that important because
No.
like when she goes to the hospital, I love you, Dad. Like, well, he's the
Our
fault.
babysitter
Like
just
that
died.
lady just died, whoever she is.
Yeah.
Probably babysitter.
auntie whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's why it's like even this thing that's not set up, they just make a big deal. And like I said, who knows? Maybe they didn't know, but I felt like they felt like they knew what type of movie they were making. They had a fun time with it. Like I said, like they could have thought of something smart and out of the way of the club, but why not? Like that's what I mean. Like they did the things like we're just gonna gather by killing everybody, and that's where it's like and that made that scene so much fun. Where that movie could have been boring if it's like they snuck out and they didn't get caught. It's like we see that in every movie. Like there's club shootout scenes, but this was like to an extreme, like video game level, like
it was amazing.
And like I don't know, I'm gonna research this when we're done cast. I fucking desperately want I'm a Raft too because they set it up. They're going where are they in?
Sao Paulo.
Yeah, they left together.
They need a name though because I Am Wrath 2. Like
we are Wrath.
It sounds like
we are Wrath. Get matching tattoos.
It sounds like I Am Wrath as well. Like it sounds weird. So they need I Am Wrath like revengeance of
the subtitle. Yeah.
Witch Hunters or something.
Well, I don't know what it's gonna be, but yeah, this is a 3 for me. My first pass. And like I said, it's not because it's a good movie. It's because it's so bad. It's so good. This is going up there as one of my. This is like a Catwoman level for me. Of like I could watch and have so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I will honestly watch this again, or I'd watch it with somebody. I've talked about
not
some other
recently,
cast.
not in the near future, but at some point I could definitely see myself watching.
Or like a movie con. I'm talking about like Knock Knock, like movies like that. Like it's in that thing of like. So much fun.
Yeah.
So it's a 3 for me. The official first pass for myself.
I'm just gonna hop right in. I was gonna give it a 3 as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just pretty much everything you said. Just so many good scenes with like the pool cue.
The pool cue.
The sword fight and the tattoo.
sword. There's so many good
and
moments.
this babysitter getting destroyed and oh man, so many good scenes. I think
it's a flesh wound.
Maloney and Travolta actually had like really solid chemistry.
Yeah,
they were
did.
a
They
solid
did.
buddy
Chemistry
cop
that
kind of
Travolta
thing.
and
I would
his wife.
watch another movie if they were like the two main dudes.
And like I didn't shut up, but Travolta was full on Travolta. Like the scene where they let his wife go. He's like, "What do you mean they let her go?" And they're like, "Just calm down." He's like, "How am I supposed to calm down? This is my wife. This is my wife." And he delivered and A+ before he went for it. Like everyone just felt like they were so much fun. Like, oh my god, this movie's so much.
Yeah,
so
this
good.
is my first. I feel like I may have given 3.
No, you gave the whole 2
I was
because of
close.
clown. You were close, but you're like because of the trash ending.
But yeah, so bad it's good. Finally, we found one.
Yeah, watch this movie. Don't like we always say in this. Watch this moment. Watch this part. Watch the movie from start to finish. Get some friends.
It's good
You'll have
pacing.
a good
You're
time.
not going to be bored.
It's an hour and a half too.
It's
Easy
not even that
thing.
bad of a movie.
No, Kyle, what do you think?
I'm gonna give it a pass of a 3 as well.
Mhm.
It's just such a fun movie to watch with you guys. All the other movies that we've watched as well too. It's just like the Last Witch Hunter. Well, the movies I watched with you was Last Witch Hunter and then
Ghost Rider.
Yeah. And I also watched The Do-Over.
Yeah.
Looking at those like complete shit movies. Like even the Ghost Rider was a fun movie to watch.
But there was really boring
It was
parts. Like anytime
really
the devil
boring
was
parts.
talking to that kid, you're like, oh fuck.
But this is a full fun ride the whole way through. The only boring part was only a minute or two in the cab talking, or it was like 30 seconds.
Yeah,
and then it was
you get
done.
over it pretty quick.
You're like, okay, sweet, moved on. Like the movie had really good pacing, whatever about the soundtrack.
Yeah,
all the
it
killings.
added to it though because it's so bad. It's like this movie should have the soundtrack.
Maybe that's why they purposely made the shaving sound effects just off.
Like this movie knew it was bad.
Oh yeah, and that's what I like.
It was
Emily, you ran us off.
Well, I had very, very low expectations going into this. Absolutely did not think this was going to be good, but I will say I will also give it a 3.
Yeah.
I would say this movie is enjoyable to watch. It was very exciting, very entertaining.
Action was actually good
Action.
too. It was fun. The amount.
It was action.
It was
I
good
wouldn't call
for
it
this type of
action, but
movie. It was for this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was exactly what
You
this
don't
movie
often see
was.
X-Acto knife
It was-
with the
I
sword.
think-
Okay?
I feel like they did as much as they could with their budget. That's how I felt like
Oh,
with
yeah.
like that, the sword, the club scene, like that club scene. People are getting their
totally.
throats slit, everything.
The one
Like
that
that.
gets shot and falls down the
I think-
staircase.
They're like,
I
you
think-
have $2,000, do whatever you want. And you could have just had a car chase, but no, sword fight any day with an X-Acto knife. That's where it's like, oh, we were gonna get him another sword, but ran out of budget. What could we use? An X-Acto knife. Like that's what it feels like. Oh man, I want a sequel.
Yeah, so I just think it was like a classic cheesy action movie that it's
sure.
just entertaining. It's worth the watch just for the entertainment value.
Mhm.
Totally.
That's
Something
our,
I will tell my dad to watch because he'll probably love it.
That's our first non-Taylor pass on the show.
Oh
I
yeah,
think.
and I always wondered too when we pass, would it be like one of us pass one thing, but it's an all across the board pass. So
Just a solid like 3.
a solid
Yeah.
three.
There's
Solid
no plot
three.
holes in the movie at all. Like
no, because they just blow them open though. They're like they don't really, other than Maloney disappearing. But guess what? He comes back.
I just accept that.
Yeah.
You get the feeling that guy's got a lot on his mind.
Oh yeah, he's probably doing other jobs too at the moment as well. But
He is
He probably
freelance.
kept that meth.
yeah, when did we start this podcast? How long ago?
Netflix and fail?
Yeah.
I feel like we've maybe done
June,
6 or
I
7
think.
movies, I want to say.
Yeah.
June
So
was right before Ninja Turtles.
okay, so it's been about
Right.
over 6 months journey. We finally got a pass. We can finally say we have a film that we've watched that is not a fail. Good job, Chris Maloney. Good job, John Travolta. Good job, all.
The point
Lemmy
of this
Cage,
show
Charlie
of
something,
trying to
something.
find a pass,
Yeah.
you know, we finally have done that. So.
Good job, Chuck
I
Russell.
think it was past the beginning.
Oh no, I thought I could give it a 2. 'cause
I was thinking 2. Halfway
Yeah.
through, I was like, this might
Yeah.
be a 2, but it just...
Rampage.
It just
Yeah.
kept going.
It kept going out. So good.
Didn't slow
Ladies and
down.
gentlemen, watch this movie. Let us know if there's any other movies you want to check out, but watch this movie so you know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for tuning
Yep,
in.
yep.
We're going to be back next up with something else. It has a high the next movie has a high bar.
I think maybe not next month Travolta, but we're coming back to Travolta for sure.
Oh, for sure. There's some
Yeah.
other ones on there. Travolta is gonna be. He's our first fit or pass, so we gotta bring. He's the king. My goal, legitimately, in 5 years if we're big enough, I want him on this podcast to interview him about the rap.
That'd be the dream.
I want that. That's the goal now.
That's everybody's
They're like,
dream.
what?
People want to. Yeah. People want Mark Hamill. People want Stan Lee. John Travolta. We want you. So
He just turns around. He actually has the tattoo.
yeah, he's like, I just want to add it in. That's why they call the Iron Rap. But thank you very much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. Have a good one. Oof.
Woof.
Oof.